Now, ma'am, I believe you have been an assistant professor at Amity Law School, Delhi for nearly 3 years now. Ma'am, how would you describe your experience so far?
Okay, it's been a wonderful journey, Hardik. Truly speaking, I'm not exaggerating even one bit. I've started my teaching career with this law school. So, and I've learned so much in the last 3 days from my colleagues, from my students, um, from this entire process. I've made mistakes and learned from them. I've experienced so many things. So it's been a very, very rewarding journey. And to sum it up, I would say that I could not have thought of, I could not have asked for a better institute to start my career with.
So, ma'am, our students will be excited to know about what subjects are you currently teaching in Amity Law School, Delhi?
Okay. So last semester, which just ended recently, I taught healthcare law to fifth year students and a paper on law and emerging technologies to fourth year students.
So, ma'am, like they say, a room without books is like a body without soul. Can you recommend some books for subjects for our students out there?
All right. For healthcare, um, keeping the syllabus that I had to cover in mind, and otherwise also, I would suggest the book authored by Miss Ishita Chatterjee, um, published by Central Law Publication. And now, as if somebody is interested in exploring and the topic of medical negligence and learning more about it, I would suggest the commentary authored by Justice R.K. Bagh. Um, it's very comprehensive and very meticulously researched. The only drawback I would say is that the latest edition of the book that is available in the market dates back to 2014, and um, I don't think another edition has come out after that. Uh, so for the judgments that that had been passed after that, you would have to refer to web-based sources. But otherwise, it gives a very it very very comprehensively and exhaustively um, explains the subject of medical negligence, and it's a very informative uh, a book. So I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed reading from it and teaching the subject.
Ma'am, do you like to give any advice for our graduating batch 2021?
Yes. Okay. See, I have known um, students and ex-students who had approached me when they were in their fifth year, fifth and final year, and shared with me that they were not very sure about what they wanted to do, once law school got over and once they graduated. And at that time, this lack of clarity had made them feel very anxious and uncertain about their future. Now, as I told you in the interview, that I was very confident in my, in the beginning of my fifth year, that about what I wanted to do after I graduated. But just because, if you, as in if like if anybody who's listening to this interview uh, is approaching their graduation, and if you're not very sure and very confident about what you want to do after law school gets over, I just want to tell you that there is absolutely no need to lose heart over this or feel inferior to anyone else who has already made up their mind about what they want to do. If you need more time for exploring more options, it's absolutely okay. You continue to do that. It's your time. There's no need to get demoralized or distressed over the fact that you are still in that process of exploring, while some of your peers may have already made up their mind about what they want to do. So in that context, I would say that, you should always keep a tab on what your peers are doing, what kind of choices they are making, so as to learn from their experiences. But sometimes what students do is that they end up comparing themselves with their peers a lot, and feel discouraged and distressed. So that is what I would advise you guys not to do, because everybody has their own journey and their own path. And just because something happened for me and somebody else at some particular point of time in our lives doesn't mean that it's meant to happen that way for you as well. So we all discover things at our own pace. And when it comes about when it comes to discovering and introspecting, I would say that if you actually sit down and ponder hard over what you want to do after law school, you would realize that you already have the answers, that you yourself know much more about what you want and what you don't want. If you just sit down clearly and ponder over it, much more about yourself than what you realize, than what you think you do. So you just need to think clearly, and everything will fall in place.
So, ma'am, what are the challenges that you face on a regular basis or during the lockdown, especially?
Every profession has its own sets of perks and challenges. So, but it's always, that if you enjoy doing your work, then the perks and the rewards will always outweigh those challenges. But since you mentioned the word lockdown, so it was that period which marked the beginning of online classes. And yes, that phase indeed has been challenging for teachers all over the world, and all kinds of teachers, whether they're school teachers or university teachers. It's online classes have been challenging for each one of us. But as we are hopefully, as we are nearing the end of the pandemic, and things are supposed to, or hopefully they should go back to how they were before. I would personally always want to teach my students in the traditional brick and mortar classroom, and not a virtual classroom, which lacks that human touch. So these online classes established one thing very clearly, at least for me, that I would always enjoy the offline mode of teaching much more than the online mode of it, than its online counterpart. And I'm pretty sure that you students also feel the same way. So it's been challenging, but I I just hope that very soon we could go back to interacting the way we used to earlier. The transition won't be very easy now, but it's something that is preferable.
So, ma'am, what are the most rewarding moments for you as a teacher?
Okay. See, every 5th of September for the last 3 years has been one of the most rewarding days of the year for me. Um, when I receive uh, these messages from students thanking me for my efforts, I would say, because every single day I try to evolve and do something better. So every time I get a simple text of or a thank you message from any of the students, whenever I see them doing well for themselves in their personal or professional lives, every time a student approaches me with, uh, you know, some problem, especially if it's a personal problem, then I feel good in the sense, because I think that I feel good about the fact that I was able to, inspire that much confidence in them that they can come and approach me and discuss their problems with me. And every time they act on my advice and it benefits them. So and they let me know that it has benefited them. So whenever all these moments taken together, they have, they make up for some of the best memories that I've, that I'll ever cherish again, looking back.
So, ma'am, if you were to suggest 3 changes in current legal education system, what would be they?
Okay. So the first change would be with regard to the pattern of examination and the frequency of examination. Uh, when I say pattern, I mean that there should be, when it comes to testing students, the pattern should be such that it should be a balanced blend or mix of both kinds of examination, subjective as well as objective, because both test different skills of the student, and both have their own pros and cons. Also, when it comes to drafting of MCQs, whether it is for entrance exams or whether it is for exams based on a particular curriculum, university exams. So MCQs should be drafted in such a manner that they test the application of mind by a student and not his or her ability to memorize certain facts. So even if we introduce the system of MCQ based objective examinations, we should be very careful about the kind of questions that are being drafted and the quality of questions that are being asked from students. When I talk about the frequency, so most NLUs and other prestigious law schools in the country, they have this system of continuous assessment, which keeps the students on their toes all year round. So instead of just working hard and working in fourth or fifth gear, as they say, only for, like, let's say, a certain part of the year when the exams are approaching, these students are on their toes all year long. So they know that each and everything that they do during the semester matters, right from class participation to class tests, etc. So this keeps them active and competitive and always agile. So a system such as similar to that should be in place in all law schools, because this is how the professional life is going to be, right after one graduates. You have to be on your toes all year long when you're working. So, and this trains you for future. So this is what I had to say about examination. The second change would that I would like to see in the legal education system sometime in the near future would be about attendance. I don't know what exactly it should be, what exactly needs to be done about it, but I would really like to see the the students giving or attaching less importance to attendance than what they do today. Attendance should not be the primary motivation for a student to attend lectures, unlike what the situation unfortunately is these days for majority of the students. So if there is something that could be done which could reduce the importance which students attach to attendance, for that matter, this would be a change that I would like to see. The third would be that uh, every law school, every law school in this country should be able to provide their students with certain basic resources, such as a good, well-equipped library, as I mentioned earlier in the interview, because that is absolutely indispensable for good and quality research work. And also, certain subscriptions are essential, in my opinion, such as those, subscriptions of reputed journals such as Hein Online, JSTOR, and databases like Manupatra, etc. So that students wouldn't have to depend on anyone else for these subscriptions. And also, every law school should have good, should subscribe to good anti-plagiarism software such as Turnitin and other such softwares in the market. So all of this would significantly improve the quality of research that takes place in legal education, and thereby improving the quality of the education overall. And something that I would like to mention, although it pertains to a question that you asked before, that an LLM program is at the end of the day a completely research based program. So you can well understand how important, a library, the quality of a library is, for that matter.